What you see in front of you is a screencast of the Visual SRM virtual appliance. What's running here is VMware Workstation, and under VMware Workstation we have a virtual machine appliance that's running Visual SRM for the purposes of performing email server assessments, file server assessments, and database server assessments. You can see this machine set up with one physical hard drive. The first step in this process is to add another virtual hard drive. The purpose of this is to create a drive capable of storing the data that we'll collect during the assessment process. So the first thing we're going to do is edit the virtual machine, and we're going to say add, and we're going to add a virtual hard disk, create a new virtual hard disk, IDE, and we're going to leave this 8 gigs in size because it's big enough for our demonstration. And we're going to name it, and voila, the virtual hard disk has been created. Once the virtual hard disk has been created, we're going to boot this virtual machine. We do that by saying start this virtual machine. As you can see, the virtual machine is starting. This virtual machine is a Windows XP box. It's been stripped down. You'll notice during the startup it doesn't start up like a normal Windows XP startup. All the services have been stripped out. It has a very small memory footprint. It's solely built to run Visual SRM along with SQL Server and the Visual SRM agent. So short of that, everything else has been shut down. You'll notice the startup is fairly quick. And once it starts up, it lists in the background here the information about the machine. So you'll notice right now the only thing configured on this machine is the C drive. So once the virtual machine is started, everything you'll need to get this virtual machine up and running is for the most part on the desktop. The first thing we're going to do is open the readme.txt, which has all the information about this virtual machine and the steps that you need to go through to get it fully functional. So it has all the passwords. It also has the steps to shut down and start Visual SRM. And it also walks you through what we need to do to configure the data disk that we created as a virtual disk. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to go over to we're going to minimize this window, and we're going to go over to Disk Manager. When we go in the Disk Manager, we should see a new disk. We're going to create that disk. We're going to leave it as a basic disk. We're going to say Finish. And you can see now I have an 8 gig disk that's unallocated. We're going to create a new partition on that disk. Leave it as a primary partition, the full 8 gig. We're going to assign it to drive letter E. We're going to format the partition. We're going to do a quick format. And we're going to say Finish. At this point, the drive is now formatting. And now the drive is back, it's healthy, and it's ready to go. So now we have drive E as the data device. The next step after closing Disk Manager is to stop Visual SRM. So we're going to stop the Visual SRM processes. So we'll just double click the shutdown Visual SRM script, and it'll actually shut down the Visual SRM services. Once the Visual SRM services are shut down, we now have to detach the existing database and attach the new database in the new location. This is fairly simple. We do this by opening command prompt, and in order to speed this up, I've created a little text file here called, this would normally be typed out, but called shortcut commands. And then what we're going to do is we're going to copy the database, the new database, to drive E, and drive E is now our new data device. So you can see drive E is now there. We're going to come here, and if we go into the Visual SRM directory, you can see there's 2 files here. These 2 files need to be copied to that E directory. So we're going to copy this to E/. So now the 2 files are being copied to the new data directory. Once that's been complete, we can then come over and detach the existing database. And the way we do that is we go and do an SP detach Visual SRM. So I'm going to copy this real quick, and then we're going to open OSQL, and the way we do that is OSQL username SA, password SA, and then we're going to use master, which is the master database, go, and then we're going to detach by pasting in this command and type in go. Okay, once we do that, we're ready to attach the new database, and that gets done pretty much by just doing an SP attach and the database names as listed in the directions. We're going to paste this and type go, and now the new database is attached on drive E. So we're going to exit out of this window, and at that point we're ready to start Visual SRM back up. So in order to do that, we'll close these windows and start Visual SRM. The services are now started. We can now launch the Visual SRM console, and Visual SRM is up and running and ready to go. While that's happening, we'll also update the background information here so you can see that the new data device has been added, drive E, it's 8 gigs, and the Visual SRM console is started. Once we start the Visual SRM console, we can go in and look at systems, and under systems you'll notice that there's an installed agent which can scan databases, Exchange servers, as well as file systems. So when we look at this agent, we'll click in on Visual SRM, and you'll see that it has drive C, which was the only available device. We're going to add a device. And the way we do this is we say add, and I'm going to create a network path, and we're going to add one of the machines that we have here in the office. Okay, and then it just needs a username and a password. And now I've added that device, so you can see this is a network drive. I'm scanning it from this host. Fairly simple. It's 100 gig in size. A little less than half is used. Our next step now is to drill in on that device and go to the file scans page. Once I get to the file scans page, you'll notice that I need to create a new file scan policy, and we're just going to call this policy file scan. And we're just going to say stream data to EMC Visual SRM console while scanning, and we'll say OK. Okay, and then we're going to add an object to this file scan policy. The way we do that is we just go up to Browse, we click on Visual SRM, and we click on the device we just added to add it to the file scan policy. Once I do that, I can then start the policy manually, and you'll see if I go back to Resources and Systems and then click on Visual SRM, you'll notice down at the bottom here the agent started the file scan process. Now I can click on this device, and in a minute I'll start to see files and data being scanned into this. So you'll notice here the file scan started, and it started populating the data. So it shows me subpaths on this path that I'm scanning, which is disk 1 on 192.168.1.129. Shows me all the subpaths, the actual size of the subpath, the allocated size, and then total percent utilization in each subpath, so I can see directories that are consuming the most amount of space. And then I can also look at individual files, and these files are listed by total amount of space consumed, when they were last accessed, when they were last modified, and then there's a whole host of reports that I can run to give me more information: duplicate files, chargeback summaries, things like file trend view, details by file path, details by file size, and it goes on and on. That pretty much completes the installation of the Visual SRM virtual appliance. We now can start surfing and pretty much find everything we need to know about host. We can add different file systems, we can scan different file systems, and just go on and on. So thanks for watching. For more information and such as this and more technology conjecture, please visit my blog at http://gotitsolutions.org. Thank you.